Before Castle in the Sky shows us a castle, it shows us a girl falling. Sheeta slips from an airship into darkness. The crystal catches her. Then Pazu does. That sequence contains the whole film. Magic can keep a body from hitting the ground. It can't remove the need for someone to receive its weight. Castle in the Sky loves flight. Few films love it more. Its machines flap, rattle, drift, and climb through a sky that always feels larger than the people inside it. But the film distrusts what happens when flight stops being a relationship with the air and becomes an escape from everything below. The higher Muska rises, the smaller other lives become. The higher Pazu and Sheeta rise, the more urgently they hold on to one another. One kind of height produces distance. The other produces responsibility. That's the tension inside Laputa. The castle is a dream because it floats above the world. It becomes a weapon because the world can no longer reach it. Castle in the Sky is not frightened by the sky. It's frightened by what can happen when someone climbs high enough to stop feeling the weight of the ground. Miyazaki makes flight feel like continuous adjustment. Dola's flaptors shake beneath the riders. The tiger moth groans through every turn. Wind catches a wing, a rope pulls tight, and the whole crew shifts before the machine can settle. Every ascent has to be negotiated again a few seconds later. Pazu already understands that pressure. He works beside engines in a mining town. He tends his doves. He cooks before the day begins. His hands know that anything kept alive or kept aloft requires attention. That's why his first moment with Sheeta matters so much. The crystal begins the rescue. Pazu finishes it. He moves beneath her and receives the part magic cannot erase, the weight of another person. From there, the film keeps returning to the same physical truth. A rail collapses, a hand slips, a glider tilts. Empty space opens beneath the children, and whatever they feel for each other becomes an action before it becomes a speech. Pazu reaches, Sheeta holds on, and their bond gathers meaning through the pressure placed on it. Pazu's dream carries weight too. His father returned from the sky with a photograph of Laputa and a story no one believed. Pazu inherits the image, the ridicule around it, and the need to prove that his father saw something real. So he builds his way upward. He studies weather, repairs machines, listens for changes in an engine. The old photograph stays close. His dream grows from love, which means someone else is already inside it. That remains true aboard the Tiger Moth. The ship stays aloft because responsibility travels across the deck. A change in the engine reaches the crew as a shared problem. Dola shouts, her sons pull, Pazu repairs, Sheeta cooks. The pirates become more human through the ordinary labor of keeping one another alive. Shared work turns a chase into a household, and then Laputa appears. The castle floats with an almost impossible calm. Stone hangs inside the storm while every trace of effort has disappeared into the structure. There's no rope pulled tight, or engine coughs, or a crew leaning into the wind. Its stillness feels divine, and yet very far away. Every good machine in Castle in the Sky is noisy because effort remains audible. The flaptors buzz, the tiger moth complains, Pazu's engines shake the room. The sound tells us that flight is being maintained by bodies, judgment and care. Someone has to notice the strain. Someone has to answer it. Someone has to feel the moment before a support gives way. Gravity is not only the threat of falling, it's the feedback. It tells each person that the world can still pull on them. To feel weight is to know that another life can change your balance. Pazu's heroism begins there, not in conquering the sky, but in allowing someone else's fall to become your responsibility. Laputa seems to have escaped that exchange. It doesn't adjust itself to the world below. The world below must adjust itself to Laputa. And once height no longer has to answer anything beneath it, the view begins to change. Altitude edits the world. As the camera climbs, a face becomes a figure. Keep rising and the figure dissolves into motion. One small disturbance inside a much larger pattern. On the ground, a few steps can place you close enough to help. From the clouds, the same emergency may barely alter the view. Human detail thins as the image widens. The change can feel beautiful. Distance gathers the landscape into a single composition, calm enough to seem understandable. Mountains become shapes, cities become arrangements, people become movement. Then power enters the frame. Muska is drawn to the kind of view that turns complexity into order. He keeps other people at the far end of a command. Soldiers, locked rooms, and weapons preserve that space around him. Even when he stands close to Sheeta, he doesn't meet her as another person. She becomes access, a bloodline, a voice that can open a door. He reduces her before Laputa ever reduces the world below. The castle simply gives his way of seeing an architecture large enough to match it. Inside Laputa's control room, his smallest gesture can produce its largest consequence. A word wakes the machinery. A hand touches the console. Far below, someone else receives the force, and the room barely moves. This is what height offers Muska, a world that can be acted upon from a place beyond reply. He doesn't have to hear the people beneath the beam. He doesn't have to feel the ground move. Suffering reaches him as light through a window. By the time he reaches the center of Laputa, the soldiers who carried him there have become witnesses he can discard. The castle around him contracts into a throne. The window keeps expanding. The lives beneath it keep losing their size. Muska reaches the highest place in the film and becomes less capable of seeing. That's the danger hidden inside the beautiful view. Height can make the world look complete at the exact moment its details disappear. The route to Laputa passes underground. Uncle Palm leads Pazu and Sheeta into a cave where the rock begins to glow around them. The same blue force that holds a kingdom above the clouds is sleeping beneath a mining town. The image turns the castle upside down. Its secret begins in darkness, among stone handled by people who understand pressure through their bodies. Pazu's town is built around that knowledge. The miners know how much force a narrow support can bear. They hear strain before collapse. They understand that one person's safety depends on work performed somewhere they can't see. When soldiers threaten Pazu, the town closes around him with the speed of people accustomed to relying on one another. Miyazaki developed part of this world after visiting Welsh mining communities during the upheaval surrounding the 1984-85 miners' strike. He was moved by towns held together through shared labor even as the industry and the communities around it were being broken apart. That history survives in Pazu's Valley. The people at the bottom of the film know what holds things up. Sheeta comes from the ground too. Her life before the chase is shaped by animals, weather, and the routines of a farm. Neither child approaches the crystal as permission to rule. They understand power through maintenance, like feeding, repairing, carrying, listening. Uncle Palm meets the stone with that same awareness. He lowers his voice. He watches the light move through the cave and treats knowledge as a form of attention rather than possession. Laputa has carried this power so high that its origin has faded from view. The castle seems self-sustaining because its history has sunken beneath the clouds. Yet the stone remembers. The power beneath the throne once belonged to the earth. The sky still carries a debt to the ground. The name Laputa already contained a warning. In Jonathan Swift's Gulliver's Travels, Laputa is a flying island used to govern the land below. Its rulers can hover over a resistant city, deprive it of light and rain, and threaten crushing force from a place the population cannot reach. The island's position is part of the weapon. A palace in the sky has no road leading to its door. No crowd can gather outside it. No citizen can climb the steps and demand an answer. Miyazaki inherits that architecture of power and leaves it running long after the original rulers are gone. Empty halls surround a garden grown wild. Royal language can still open the center. Royal blood can still wake the machinery. The people disappear. The permission remains. The empire survives as access. And Muska brings the name that grants it. Once Laputa recognizes him, every buried system begins arranging the world around his claim. Ancient doors open, weapons wake. The soldiers who believed they controlled the mission discover that the castle answers to an authority older than the government. Muska steps into that power as though he has recovered his natural size. He speaks from above, and the castle enlarges his voice. He points, and distance carries the result away from his body. Each command reaches farther while asking less of him. This is what separates Muska from Pazu and Sheeta. All three reach Laputa. All three encounter the same inheritance. Muska sees power as the end of dependence. Pazu and Sheeta have spent the whole film learning that dependence is what makes survival possible. Muska wants a force no one can resist. They keep saving one another by remaining interruptible. A cry changes their direction. A slipping hand changes their balance. Another person's fear becomes information. Muska removes that feedback. At the peak of Laputa, power becomes freedom from reply. Then the film turns away from the throne. It turns toward the garden. At the highest point in the world, the strongest figure in the film kneels. The gardener robot slows beside a bird. Its enormous hands adjust around a flower. It carries that flower to a grave and places it there with the patience of a ritual performed many times before. Centuries have passed. The royal family is gone. The robot continues a form of care whose audience disappeared long ago. The garden still receives attention. That changes the meaning of Laputa's height. The robot can see across the castle. Its attention settles on what's close. A small life alters its path. Fragility shapes the way its strength moves. Power becomes gentleness through precision. The robot bends until one flower fills the frame, and the world becomes large again. Care restores scale. It returns the detail that distance removes. A bird crossing the path matters enough to change a giant's movement. A grave gathers centuries of loyalty into one quiet place. A flower remains worthy of the strongest hand in the film. Muska's window and the robot's hand offer two uses of height. One looks down until life becomes territory. The other bends down until one life becomes the whole field of attention. To kneel is to give up the God's eye view. It's to let something small become large enough to answer. Pazu and Sheeta have been doing this throughout the film. A meal changes the pirates. A damaged wing changes the plan. A falling body changes the direction of another body. Their strength remains human because it keeps adjusting to what is near. Sheeta carries that understanding into the center of Laputa. The castle recognizes her blood. Its language belongs to her family. The crystal answers to her voice. She has reached the place where inherited power could gather around her exactly as it gathered around Muska. The question is what she will allow that height to mean. A throne expects one voice, but Sheeta doesn't speak alone. Pazu joins her. Their hands meet around the crystal. Their voices meet inside the spell. The burden the castle was built to concentrate in one ruler is shared between two children. That choice matters before the word does. Muska treats Sheeta's inheritance as a key that should open power for him. Sheeta treats it as a responsibility that can no longer be carried by one person. She doesn't claim Laputa. She releases it from the part of itself that makes possession possible. Then gravity moves through the castle. The lower structure breaks apart. Stone disappears into the cloud. The weapon systems fall. Roots close around the garden as the living center rises beyond reach. Lapida isn't simply destroyed. It becomes separated from its throne. The castle survives by losing what made it a kingdom. Muska falls with the world he reduced to a weapon. Pazu and Sheeta hold on to each other. The first gesture of the film returns at its greatest scale. A girl once fell from an airship and a boy moved beneath her. Now an empire falls around them, and neither child lets the other disappear into empty space. Magic cannot erase weight. Power cannot erase dependence. The film gives gravity the final decision. Everything built to dominate the earth is pulled back toward it. What remains is the tree, the garden, and the solitary keeper who never needed a kingdom in order to care for them. Lapida rises higher than before, but its height has lost the power to rule. It has become distance without dominion. Castle in the Sky is afraid of heights because height can make a living world look small enough to own. The film answers that danger with closeness. Muska reaches the highest room and stops hearing anyone below him. The gardener reaches the ground and lets a flower change the movement of his hand. Muska uses distance to remove consequence from action. Pazu lets another person's weight enter his body. Muska inherits a kingdom and asks how far its power can reach. Sheeta inherits the same kingdom and asks what must be released. The film doesn't argue against flight. It distinguishes ascent from abandonment. Good flight remains full of feedback. Wind pushes back. Engines complain. People pull on the same rope. Voice can still change the direction of the machine. Bad height removes reply. The room stays still. The window stays clean. The consequence arrives somewhere too far away to interrupt the person who caused it. That's why the most important image in the film is not the castle floating above the clouds. It's the robot bending toward a flower. Strength remains human by carrying the memory of the ground. To rise without becoming Muska, the film suggests, you have to bring weight with you. Someone else's hand, someone else's fear, someone else's life altering your balance. And finally, Pazu and Sheeta descend. They return to rough weather, crowded rooms, and ordinary machines. They return to a world where people are close enough to answer them. Lapida survives as proof of Pazu's dream, though the dream has changed in his hands. He reached the highest place in the world and came home understanding weight. Sheeta reached the inheritance waiting for her and decided what the earth would be forced to carry from it. Neither child brings the kingdom home. That may be the final sign that they understood it. The sky keeps its wonder. Flight still calls upward. Lapida continues beyond the clouds, its garden held inside the roots of a tree, its weapons gone. Every ascent now carries the memory of someone living beyond the edge of the view. Before Castle in the Sky shows us a castle, it shows us a girl falling. The crystal catches her. Then Pazu does. For one brief moment, the whole world becomes the distance between his hands and hers. To reach the sky and remain human, you have to carry the ground with you.